All right, well, welcome to week 3. It's been great to be able to interact with you online, also in person last week, and this week may seem a little quieter, and it's designed in such a way for you to be more reflective. I find a lot of times in graduate school, we're sort of running and doing, and we kind of lose that sense of perhaps one of the best things that we can do as graduate students is actually to slow down, to take some time, to reflect on what we're learning and reflect upon ourselves. And so the readings that I have you do this week, I hope will be helpful. The text, Bloomberg, really focuses on what I introduced a bit to you last week on learner-centered teaching. And what I love about this book is that it's a bit more of like a workbook. I think what you're going to find in here is that there's a lot of sort of self-questions that Bloomberg asks of the reader. Who am I as a teacher? How am I moving toward a learner-centered approach? What makes that hard? How can I do it better? And as you read this book, I hope that you enjoy that process. Chapter 8 in particular really talks about this idea of like, what are the iterative steps that we can take toward being more learner-centered? And I think that's just a great way of thinking about it. I find that as I talk with my colleagues and as I've experienced teaching classes myself, you don't really sort of master the class, I think, till about the second or third year after you've done it. You're trying to get your head around the topic. You have experiences with students. You find that some things work better than others. And you grow as a teacher as well. And so, I think this ongoing process, this ongoing pursuit that we have to be better teachers is a really, really great quality. And I hope that it's one that we can even begin now as you are doctoral students to be reflecting on that. So as you read through the book, focus in on the chapters that are really, really important to you. Take some time to not just gloss over the self questions, but actually take some time to think about that. And I hope that you'll find that helpful. The other short piece that I have for you, I'm not having you read this whole research book, but I explain a little bit in the handout that's in week 4, but if you want to look ahead, you can do that. There's something called the Researcher Identity Memo. And when we do research, the Researcher Identity Memo is a way that the researcher actually reflects upon themselves. What am I bringing to the research project? How am I experienced by the participants that perhaps I interact with in a focus group or in an interview, or even as I come to data that has been collected through surveys? What are the lenses, assumptions, approaches that I have as I interpret that data? We have to be aware of the lenses that we're using because it actually has an impact on the ways that we see our research. And I think the same is true with teachers as well. And that's why I call something that you're going to do next week called the Teacher Identity Memo. This is where we ask ourselves some really reflective questions about ourselves, like what experiences do I bring to the space that I'm stepping into? How does my background, how do the ways that I learn perhaps impact the ways that I teach, the assumptions that I have, the ways that I interact with students, the ones that I gravitate more toward another. All these factors I think are really, really important. And so this short piece that I'm having you read this week from Maxwell explains what a researcher identity memo is, and then we're going to flip that and make it a teacher identity memo. And again, there's explanation of that in week 4. But for this week, I'm really wanting you to do something quite profound, and that is to read and to reflect and to journal. That's it. And you've noticed with these journals, I want you to do them. I'm certainly going to ask you if you've journaled, but I'm not asking you to turn those in or to share those with anybody. I think sometimes there are moments that are sacred where we just need that time to do that ourselves. Now, the temptation, I know you have it because I have it too, is to be like, well, since nothing is really due, I can kind of skate by this. I'm trying to clear the way for you this week to actually have you spend time do this. So find a great place to sit down and read this book. Pull out your journal and don't feel rushed to do it. Don't treat it like a task. Treat it like a conversation with yourself. Take some time to sort of think about like, what's the next click for me as I think about my own teaching, as I develop that along with every other skill that I'm developing as a doctoral student. We need you for that. Your students need you for that. The world needs you for that. And I certainly believe in it enough that I want to give you the space to do that this week. So have a great week. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll chat soon. Peace.